All right, folks. So we'll get going here. It's 2 o'clock, just to be super respectful of everybody's time. A small slide show prepared for today's meeting. For today's meeting, we have muted everyone, and nobody has the ability to unmute. If anybody has a question that they'd like to ask, please raise your hand. I recognize most of you, but we did have some imposters in a previous meeting. So as of right now, nobody has the ability to unmute. The Q&A feature is turned on. If you have a question and you want to ask it, feel free to put it in the Q&A section. You could also use the chat function. Or if you raise your hand, I will call on you and I will unmute you manually and you can ask your question. Does anybody have any questions on how to use those features before we get going? If anybody needs to raise their hand or anything like that to be able to do that, I'll gladly walk you through it. Feel like we've been using Zoom for ever now, so if you're not comfortable using it, feel free to ask and we'll gladly help you do it. It's a great point, Steve. If you don't know, Steve says if they don't know how to do it, how would they ask? That's a great point. And I'm still letting some folks in from the waiting room. That's why I'm kind of like stretching it out. Okay, but we'll get going. We don't have too much to show you today in here, right? But I do have some news for you that I'll share with folks. Next slide. So this is a meeting that we're specifically using time, and hopefully folks are coming today and every Tuesday for the foreseeable future through the end of November to talk about the transition to MEFIRS 3.5. This is our time frame. August 1st, we're going to be sending out a change notice to agency leadership. It's going to highlight some things that EMS agency leaders need to consider. It's going to talk about what is changing in the run form, so on and so forth. We do have some agencies so far that have volunteered to pilot this for us, and I thank those agencies for doing so. August 15th, we're going to start piloting with those agencies so that the clinicians at those agencies who are going to be documenting in this new data set can start to give us some feedback to say, hey, we like the flow of the form. This could go here, that could go there, and so on and so forth. Just some simple feedback to say, this is good, this is better, this is worse, please fix this, right? We'll go through that, and we're going to work on addressing that feedback that they have. And on September 1st, we're going to have a training released on MEMS-Ed for EMS clinicians to go through to say, here is the transition. Here's why we're transitioning. Here are the fields that are different for all the clinicians, right? So that they can understand when we say, what is the type of service requested? What does that mean? When we talk about a primary impression, what does that mean? And the ever so elusive, what is a medical transport? We'll talk about those things and go through all of that through that MEMS-Ed training, so your clinicians can be very well prepared when the run form does come to their agency. They'll have a better understanding of what the run form contains, why things are a little bit different, and so on and so forth. October 1st, 2023, we're going to start talking about bringing on some agencies. When we first rolled out to the version 3 data set, we rolled out and we did a slow roll in. We did a third of the agencies each month. We envisioned doing the same in October. Half of the agencies, or at least half of the agencies, maybe if not a third of the agencies. I think Sheldon's having connectivity issues. and then November bringing some more agencies on, and then by December 1st, every agency in the state being on board the NEPSIS 3.5 data set. So, okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? This is where we are. Not seeing any questions. No one raised their hand. All right. So, oh, we do have a question. Anonymous participant. What is NEPSIS? NEPSIS is the National EMS Information System. They're the national repository where we send our de-identified data to. We don't send them patient names and dates of birth or anything like that, or patient addresses. We send them statistical information about, what type of call was it, what was the primary impression, medications that were given, stuff like that. The state of Maine participates with NEPSIS, as well as every other state in the nation and a few of the other territories participate in NEPSIS. And what we do with NEPSIS is try to improve the data submission to NEPSIS, so we can say, this is what we're doing in EMS in the state of Maine. And then they in turn use that data to try and help us drive evidence-based care, right? So we can work on our protocols together. We can work on things like that. So I hope that answers your question, and moving on. So what is NEPSIS 3.5? NEPSIS 3.5 allows us to describe the whole EMS event. It's not just about eDisposition.12. And we talked about this a little bit last week. eDisposition.12 is the field that is the incident patient disposition. In the incident patient disposition, we talk about a few things that are treated and transported by this EMS unit. Dead on scene, resuscitation attempted with or without transport, no resuscitation attempted with or without transport, so on and so forth. And if you break that down, that's really 3 different things in there, right? Patient was treated and transported by this EMS unit. That's 2 different things at least, right? So they were treated by this unit and this unit transported them. So eDisposition.12 breaks down into several new dispositions. That's not the only thing changing. That is one of the major things that clinicians are going to see, is that there is a unit disposition, a crew disposition, a patient care and evaluation disposition, and then a transport disposition. So that flows right down through that quite logically. The goals of 3.5 is to improve the ability and flexibility to fully describe that EMS event in the way that we couldn't do it before with previous versions. So the main thing that I wanted to share with you today, though, is that one of the most important things about EMS agencies is, hey, we go on a call. Can we get paid for the call, right? I'm going to back up one slide here. So can we get paid for that call? Can our care be reimbursed, right? So one of the things that we've started doing is reaching out to some of the billing companies so far. I've heard back from several of the billing companies, medical reimbursement services. They use the ESO billing platform. The ESO billing platform is ready to go to accept NEPSIS 3.5 data. The Zoll billing platform is also confirmed ready to accept NEPSIS 3.5 data. And the Comstar, agencies that use Comstar for their billing, they've also verified with us that they are capable and ready to receive NEPSIS 3.5 data, as to limit any interruptions, and there should not be any interruptions in an agency's ability to submit for reimbursement based on the changes to the data set. So I think that covers the largest percentage of the EMS agencies that are billing in the state right now. So next, I want to share with you some resources that are available to folks right now, 24/7, every day, that they could go and they could find some information about the transition to NEMSIS 3.5 themselves. And that is right within MEFIRS itself. Under the community tab, which is the last tab on the menu bar, there is the Help University, and this is the homepage of the Image Trend University. And you see there's a box right here, NEMSIS transition to 3.5, and that offers a wealth of information on the transition. Alan, I have a question here in the chat that I'm just going to take a quick second to answer. Alan, I have reached out to Quick Med Claims. I've not heard back from them yet, to make sure that they're ready for that. So, but thank you for asking that out. Thank you, Alan. That transition to NEMSIS 3.5 button right there has a lot of information for it, right? The high change overview that is right here, that'll explain a bunch of stuff. If you wanted to take, some time for your crew, if you were going to do some just-in-time training or something, it'd be something that you could probably do with them, really quick on the fly. Say, hey, here's some things that are changing, that are coming up for Maine EMS. Kind of wanted to get you aware of them, right? And like I said, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Feel free to explore those fields right there. Another thing that we talked about for EMS agency admins is, hey, we're going to change some of the data elements that are in the run form. That edisposition.12 data element is kind of a big deal. We use that a lot. We use that a lot on the criteria for reporting. Image Trend has gone ahead and put together a short little video here under the webinar features in the university to talk about 3.5 and reporting on NEMSIS 3.5. Because one of the things that'll happen is, if you have any reports that use any of the fields that are either retiring from 3.4 in 3.5, like edisposition.12, will be retiring, you'll need to update that into this 3.5 report writer data set. So short little video for there, and they kind of walk you through some of the new values and how to use those in report writer. Darren and I will also be offering some training resources on this as we progress and get closer to the change, so that when EMS agencies do transition, their reporting metrics that they're using at their agency, they'll have had the ability to either ask us, learn from us, or receive some guidance from us on how to facilitate that transition. Here is a QR code. Everybody should be pulling out their cell phones now and scan the QR code. You do have to be logged in to MEFIRS to access that webinar, and to access the Help University. So that's available for you right there. And I will share this slide deck afterwards, just like I did with the last slide deck for folks too. So coming soon, we are going to be releasing a NEMSIS 3.5 transition resource page. What we'll do on that resource page is we'll put PDF copies of any kind of documents that we release. We have a checklist that's coming out that's pretty much ready to go for EMS agencies. We'll have the change notice there, and we'll have links to any of the training resources that we put out for this as well. And we're going to get to recording. I'm already recording these videos, but we'll get these videos published on YouTube. So we'll have a link to our NEMSIS 3.5 topic area on our YouTube page as well. So folks can come back and listen to me talk about this. So you can try the new run form right now. The new run form is up. It's ready to go. You can use it. You can try. You can play with it at your leisure on the Maine EMS website. If you click on the MEFIRS link, you will see that it has the training agency login information right there. that training agency is ready and displaying the new run form right now. It is EMS run form 5.0, and it is ready to go. Just by looking at it, this is the initial page that you come to when you log in. There isn't too much different on the left-hand side of the screen that you would see if you were looking at the current run form. We're still following the dispatch, response, arrival, assessment, treatment, and it's not showing transport because we haven't selected a transport disposition here. But those visibility rules are this shows that visibility rule is working. So all the same sections are here, and the panels are fairly similar. Some slight rearranging of a few things just for workflow improvements. So I see a question, Russell Osgood. I was led to believe that this transition will provide a CAD connection to auto-populate the CAD information into the report. Is this true? So Russell, we are working with ImageTrend on facilitating an integration with CAD. It is not connected to the 3.5 transition in any way. That's a separate topic, but we are working on facilitating a statewide CAD integration. So we are getting a CAD. Does it have anything to do with NEMSIS 3.5? It will, but they're separate topics, right? So. Oh, thanks, Scott. Russell, I'd love to give you a timeline on that implementation project for the CAD, which is, I think, what you're talking about. But I can't give that to you right at this moment because we are still in the process of getting the contract signed with ImageTrend, and with the multiple projects that we have going on right now. I'm not sure what the implementation timeframe for that is going to be. I'd love to give you an answer, but anything I told you would be a guess. So, and I apologize for that. So play with the run form if you'd like. Check it out. It's there. Like I said, the training, go to the Maine EMS website, maine.gov/EMS, and click on MEFIRS and use that training agency to log in. Will this update improve efficiency in completing reports? Dr. Cole, I don't specifically know what you mean by that, but one of the things that I'm constantly working on is ways to make things better for the crews in the run reporting system. So Darren, I see Darren's got his hand up, but just to finish that last statement there, always working to try and improve things for the crews, but we don't always implement everything at once, right? So the visibility rules are very smart in the run form, should only show you things, sections and panels that you need to complete your run. Also too, with the CAD integration, when that comes, and with if you're importing vital signs from a cardiac monitor, say, that is a good chunk of the stuff that crews need to do in here, right? And I'm hopeful that with the training and with the education that comes with this, that crews will find it easier to chart, but we're still going to they're still going to have accurate and complete documentations. Darren, go ahead.
Yeah, so I will just add that Maine EMS, believe it or not, has a data committee, and that data committee meets regularly, and over the past year has spent a significant amount of time reviewing the data elements and the values for the NEMSIS 3.5 transition. So they went through every single field and provided feedback on whether it's needed, required, optional, things of that nature. And then within the fields, for example, primary impressions, we currently have, oh, I don't know what, Jason, about 400 different impressions or something like that. And so that list kind of perpetually seems to just grow and grow and grow, but they've actually in at NEMSIS request work to trim that list down, and I believe it's down to about 180 or so items now. You know, certainly that doesn't mean that there's going to be impression for pain, left foot posterior, pain, left foot anterior, pain, right foot, right. You're more apt to see like a pain foot, but there's other areas where you can capture the additional details of those assessments and things of that nature. So they spent a lot of time trying their best to winnow down the form to what we really need and the data elements to what's really relevant, and to try to reduce any redundancies in capturing data.
So thank you for that, Darren. That was great. So Dr. Cole, I hope that helped answer your question. Lisa Bennett asked when did that take place. Mike Chope provided an awesome answer in the chat. So thanks, Mike, for doing that. But just in case anybody didn't see that or needs to hear it again, beta testing starts with services on August 15th. We'll have a release change notice we're going to release on August 1st to EMS agency admin, and full go live for every agency estate by December 1st. All right, so moving on a little bit. Now we come to the questions and answers phase of the meeting today. Does anybody have any other questions or answers? I'm going to go ahead and take a look at who we have in the meeting. Everybody seems to be an authenticated user. I will allow participants to unmute themselves if anybody has any questions. If they want to unmute themselves to ask the question, or if they want to put it in the chat, or Q&A is open too. You're welcome, Lisa. Not everybody at once.
Jason, I just have a question on the CAD integration.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief Osgood, for bringing that up. We currently have a CAD integration that we use with Fire through IMC. Is that going to go away if we're piloting, or will that still be a part where it's associated with the fire incidents?
So we're not. So anything that you have through IMC for your fire reporting, if that's through Image Trend, that's not going to go away. When our version of the CAD integration rolls out, it'll replace your version of the CAD integration, but beta testing should not affect any current CAD integrations.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions? So we're here for you folks. If you guys have any questions, anytime at all, we're more than happy to, meet with agencies individually to go through some of the things with them. If you folks get the opportunity to log in and try the run form, if anybody has any questions or they find anything weird in there, please feel free to reach out to us. There are some new things that we've done in there in terms of medications and procedures, specifically surrounding cardiac arrest. We've added some, when you're adding a medication, you can add a specific medication instead of just adding a generic medication, and it defaults to the medication being administered based on that, or a procedure being provided. with some default information that should help with some data entry further from the crew side, especially in those types of events, cardiac arrest event anyway. So, and we're working on some preset values. The preset values in this data set will be pretty different than the preset values in the 3.4 data set. So we're working on a treated and transported by this EMS unit preset value that will add, and that'll select basically a standard set of dispositions for you on that, on a call in this data set. So, but last call for questions. Otherwise, we'll give everybody some time back.
Access this now. Sorry, I missed it earlier because I was late. But where do we, if we want to go in and play and mess with it, where do we access it currently to try it out?
So, Dr. Cole, if you go to our website, the Maine EMS website, maine.gov/EMS, and you click on the MEFIRS tab, there's the login for the training site. And I believe it's training 1 and whatever the password is there. You can log in using that login and use EMS Run Report 5.0. And that is the 3.5 data set run form. Very good. So we're going to continue to meet every Tuesday. We're going to give some updates when we have those resource pages available for folks. And I do see someone's typing a question, so I'll give them a minute to do that. But please tell your friends, tell your colleagues about these sessions, because, you know, trying to give bite-sized pieces of information to folks between now and then, so it's not a lot to digest all at once. We don't want to be like, hey, by the way, remember back in July, we told you on December 1st, we were changing. It's December 1st, right? Like we don't want that to happen, folks. We want them to be prepared. We want there to be very little pain points for this transition. Yes, eResponse.05 options, the custom elements of PIFT and SCT go away, because an IFT is a generic term. There is interfacility options in eResponse.05, which is the type of response requested. eResponse.05 becomes 911 response primary coverage area, 911 response mutual aid, 911 response intercept, and then the interfacility options become hospital to hospital, hospital to non-hospital, non-hospital to hospital, and all the variations of that you could pretty much imagine. And the level of care provided will be based on the payment. So the CMS service level of service provided, that's on the narrative page. Those will be available there. So that may be a little bit different for crew members, especially agencies that are providing interfacility transport, which I realize is a large amount of agencies. So we'll make sure that we do some emphasis on that in the training. All right, folks, if anybody else has any questions, now would be a great time to ask them. Otherwise, we'll wrap up here and we'll give you guys some of your time back. And like I said last time, if anybody, once we get that resource page stood up, we'll make copies of these slide decks that we've been using here available for everybody. And we'll make sure we label them with the appropriate date that we shared them with everyone. And we'll make the recordings available on YouTube. And at any time, anyone's free to reach out to us, to ask us any questions, call, email, stop by the office, however you'd like to do that. I'm there every Monday, and we can talk about the transition. So if anybody else doesn't have any questions, I will give everybody some of their time back, and thank you all for coming today, and I hope everybody has a safe day and a really good day.